What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the DFS Dose YouTube channel, the live stream, the first ever Saturday night live stream. How you feeling, Joe? You ready for this week one slate?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on the optimal build. Just got a couple 2v2s or 3v3s that we could talk about here in a second. But yeah, late night live stream. It's important for us to, I think, update the listeners on, our thoughts after our podcast comes out on Thursday, which was, 2 days ago, and we record on Wednesdays. So like 3 days in between of information that we didn't have prior that could affect some decisions. Like we have Elijah Moore most likely being a stone lock in cash now due to the Jamison Crowder and Keelan Cole news. So decided to do a live stream on Saturdays, and we still have to figure out the time if you're watching. So this isn't a set time. We got to figure out the best time to do this, but late night live stream kind of has a nice ring to it.
I like it. We might even catch a Schefter bomb or two,
Yeah, hopefully.
I got his Twitter open, hitting that refresh every couple minutes. So you mentioned that you have a pretty good grasp on the optimal cash build. I think it's pretty self-explanatory on Draftkings this week. I mean, there are a couple of stone locks. I would say that there are 3 players that are stone cold locks, and there are about 2 or 3 that are just on that precipice of just being phenomenal plays, but you can make the case. But I want to see if you agree with me in terms of the 3 that I think you absolutely have to have in all of your cash lineups. The first one I think is Alvin Kamara. I think he's the best running back play of the top 3. At tight end, I think Kyle Pitts is he's going to be massive chalk, and I think deservedly so. He's a phenomenal play. And then finally, Jalen Hurts, to me, is an absolute smash at 6,400. He's got the same elite upside as players like Josh Allen, as Kyler Murray, and you're just getting a solid discount over 1,200 from Murray, a full 1,000 down from Josh Allen.
Yeah, I definitely think these guys are part of the core. For me personally, I would have CMC in there. So Christian McCaffrey, 9,500. I mean, like you mentioned in your cash video, when is it never a good time to play Christian McCaffrey in cash games?
Yeah,
so
never been a bad time.
never been a bad time to play CMC. So I think you're locking in these 4 guys, and then if we just scroll down in the wide receiver pool, this is where people are obviously going to gravitate towards, right? We have Marquez Callaway at 3,400. If I go lower, I mean, I got to keep on scrolling, but we have Elijah Moore at 3K, Rondale Moore at 3K, Marvin Jones Jr. is 3,600 if I go up here. And I don't know if these guys are like core plays. I mean, some people probably think they are. And I think they're very good plays, but you could definitely get away from 1 or 2 of these guys in cash.
I think Callaway is almost a must play at this point, just because at his price at 3,400, he can't really hurt you, and especially in cash games, he really can't hurt you because he's going to be pushing 60 to 70% ownership in DraftKings double ups and head to heads. So I do think that you just play Callaway at this point with Traquan Smith added to IR, and that is a piece of news that we have gained since we recorded the podcast. It's like, where else are these targets going to go? We know Jameis is going to be throwing the ball. Obviously, Alvin Kamara projects for the best target share on the team, but Callaway's right behind him. Behind that, they have absolutely nobody.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from Callaway and cash. And I've seen some people have some concern over the potential matchup with Jair Alexander, but shout out to Sal Vetri for pointing this out. Jair Alexander hasn't shadowed in his last 10 games. He's only played on the left side of the field. So if Sean Payton is smart, he could scheme Callaway away from Jair Alexander. So I'm not too worried about the wide receiver versus cornerback matchup at this point. But his target projection is probably 7 to 9 targets for like a 22 or 23% target share. And it's hard to get away from that at 3,400 in cash games.
It is. I think that his target projection is better than that of Marvin Jones, and you're getting a slight discount. The question, I think, is, do you play Elijah Moore in cash? I mean, things are lining up really well for him. It is a rookie in his first game with a quarterback we're not sure of, but at 3K, the risk is highly mitigated. We know Jamison Crowder is out because of COVID, and Elijah Moore figures to play damn near every slot snap for the Jets this week.
I do think you play Elijah Moore in cash. I love Corey Davis, and I'm not going to fault anybody for going there, but you're getting a $1,900 discount from Davis to Moore, and they project very similarly. I think. I mean, obviously Corey Davis is the alpha in that offense. They signed him to a big deal in the offseason, but Moore, like you said, is going to step into a starting role with Cole potentially out and Crowder confirmed out, and he's the min price in a game that could be a sneaky shootout, and it should be an up-tempo game from both teams. So I think Elijah Moore is a fantastic play at 3K in cash games, and he's probably one of the core plays in my opinion.
Yeah. To me, I mean, I love Corey Davis as a GPP pivot, and we'll get to some more tournament-centric thoughts in a minute here. But yeah, I mean, the 3K price tag is really hard to beat, and I prefer Elijah Moore for sure over guys like Terrace Marshall and Ant-Man, aka Rondale Moore, who I think is actually a pretty easy fade in my opinion. I don't know why he's penciled in to get the wide receiver 2 role when I think that could easily be dispersed between him, AJ Green, and Christian Kirk equally. DeAndre Hopkins is the only safe bet, I think, to be a large dominator of targets in this Arizona-Tennessee game.
Yeah, I mean, Moore is just a cheap option, and by all accounts from Cardinals beat writers, they believe that he may be the Cardinals wide receiver 2, and he's stepping into, that Larry Fitzgerald role where they're going to scheme touches for him, whether that be 5 or 6 targets or maybe an attempt out of the backfield. He's going to get touches in this matchup in one of the highest total games on the slate, a game that everybody's going to target this week, and he's just a salary saver. And I mean, I'm not playing him in cash. In tournaments, he's interesting, but I'll probably fade him there if his ownership is kind of high, which it looks like it's going to settle around 10 to 15%. So not,
which isn't too bad, but it's better than Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I'm not playing Rondale Moore over Elijah, but it is what it is. I mean, some people will. I think that's bad. Elijah Moore's target projection is very much better than Rondale Moore's.
Yeah, I agree. So we agree. I think that we agree Kamara and CMC are the best plays at running back, but it really comes down to what you're going to do in the flex. Are you going to be paying up for one of the high-priced wide receivers or Dalvin Cook? I think that's one of the biggest decision points on the entire slate. Dalvin Cook, 9,100, and you can save quite a bit of money by going down to players with great projections like Calvin Ridley or Stephon Diggs, and you save a decent amount by going down off of Dalvin Cook. Where is your thought process as far as those 2v2s go?
Yeah, man, honestly, that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now, because from a median projection standpoint, it's going to favor more towards the Dalvin Cook build and pay down at wide receiver to a 3K guy. But these wide receivers in this mid-range, like Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, Devontae Adams, even Keenan Allen, who I know you considered for a little bit, all of these guys project so well, and they figure to see like 10 plus targets, and they're all in relatively good spots. And then that salary will allow you to go into the mid-range and play a Corey Davis or play a T. Higgins or a Jerry Jeudy over a Marvin Jones or Marquez Callaway if you want to fade Callaway. So kind of struggling with that 2v2. I don't know which direction I'm going to go yet, but I think I'm leaning more towards the Ridley and pay up for my wide receiver 3.
I'm actually in the same spot as you. That's interesting. But I mean, Calvin Ridley and Dalvin Cook, obviously, like you said, the median projection is going to favor Cook. But what? It's like 1.5 apart, if that. And, the ceiling is very comparable between the two.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't mind it in cash games because Ridley is, I think, just as safe as Dalvin Cook, and you're getting a $1,200 discount. So definitely don't mind Ridley. I mean, Diggs, I'm considering playing Diggs over Ridley, to be honest, because you're getting a $300 discount. The Bills are going to be one of the most pass-heavy teams in the NFL. He should see 10 plus targets in a good spot against the Steelers that have, an aging secondary in Joe Hayden. I know they have Minka, but other than those two guys, there's really not much to be worried about. And I don't want to say anything about last year, but in the same matchup, he put up 10 for 130 and won against the Steelers. So it's not like I'm not scared of this ninth next to Diggs' name. He's in a phenomenal spot.
He is. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just with the volume, he's going to be borderline matchup proof this entire year. And we saw it, on Thursday night in the opening game. Both Prescott and Brady threw over 50 times. I think Josh Allen's going to be right in that same range. And, Dak had 2 wide receivers with like 15 plus targets. And I could definitely see Diggs approaching that at the top of his range. So yeah, Ridley and Diggs, I think, are both solid plays. Are you banking on the savings you're getting from them and sort of preferring them over Adams and Hill, who are a little bit more expensive, but also great plays?
Yeah, I think both Ridley and Diggs project very similarly to Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill. So I would just take the savings, the couple $100 and go down to one of Ridley or Stephon Diggs. So that's where I would go. But, if I'm behind tomorrow, come the 4:00 games, there's plenty late swap options. Like I'll just late swap off Kamara to Tyreek Hill or Devontae Adams in cash if I'm behind. So something to consider if you're playing cash games tomorrow and the chalk bus. There's plenty of options to pivot to. So
yeah, for sure. Let's transition to tournaments because I think that's really what's the interesting thing in week one. The cash build is pretty self-explanatory, like we talked about. Tournaments, though, a lot of interesting spaces you can go. There are a lot of players in play right now.
Yeah, too many players. Some would say. There's just so many good spots on the board, and we've talked about a lot of them. Like Josh Allen is in a great spot against the Steelers. They're going to throw the ball a ton, and his ceiling projection is just out of this world. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, self-explanatory. Kyler Murray, crazy ceiling. Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's going to be hard to get away from Hurts stacks in tournaments, especially if he's not too chalky, which he might not be in tournaments. So I love
his pass catchers won't be either. Devontae Smith at 4,500 is completely under the radar.
Yeah. So love Jalen Hurts, love Ryan Tannehill. Trevor Lawrence is sneaky, but it all depends on what kind of contest you're playing. So as you could see here, this is if we go up, this is the $100 Millie Maker with 28,000 entries. So a large field tournament, but it's not like the $20 Millie Maker with 220,000 entrants where you kind of have to get really unique. So I'm kind of struggling on which direction to go. As you could see, like I still have to make my lineup for it. I'll probably do that like sometime tomorrow morning. But yeah, man, I don't know really which direction to go. Do I go with a popular stack or do I get like crazy and go Trevor Lawrence and Laviska Shenault and DJ Chark?
I think you can go in whatever direction you want. I mean, I think that it's more important. What do we think about John Ross?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you draft John Ross in fantasy football, you should probably retire from playing. Just my opinion.
That's safe. That's safe.
But he is the 2019 All-Star champion.
What do you think about Jamar Chase ball comments? He can't see the balls because, there's like a difference in color or something. The white stripes, I feel him on that. I'm colorblind too. I would probably struggle in that same way.
I don't think being colorblind means you can't see white.
How would you know, dude?
I don't know. I'm not colorblind because I'm not a pussy. But there's a lot of interesting spots in tournaments. But I think just from an overall tournament strategy is you're probably going to want to fade like one or two of these high-priced running backs and Dalvin Cook, CMC, Kamara, and just go with like a more average build or a more, I can't think of the word.
Balanced.
Yeah, more balanced build. Thank you, Ben. More balanced build where, you target some of these running backs in the mid-range like a Najee Harris or, Antonio Gibson or some of these guys, and you play some of these high-priced wide receivers that are good leverage plays, like Justin Jefferson is a great leverage play. AJ Brown, I mean, Jared's in the chat. AJ Brown is the best fucking tournament wide receiver play on the board this week, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
On out of everybody in this player pool,
Yeah,
he's a stone tournament lock.
yeah,
Best play on the board. But yeah,
he is.
So
And,
so you just flip the build.
Speaking of Jared, he asked earlier, what do we think about AJ Green? I mean, you're part of the rake if you play AJ Green.
Yeah, or draft him. So.
Yeah, or draft him, or play him, or consider him at all in fantasy in 2021.
Yeah.
AJ Brown, though, absolutely great play. And Tannehill, despite being part of everybody's favorite game to stack this week, is projected to be like well under 10% owned. So I don't know about that. He's direct leverage off of Jalen Hurts for only $100 more. And like you said, pairs really well with AJ Brown. It's going to be a really contrarian build, I think, to go with Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins. It just sets you in a completely different, type of roster construction where you're probably saving at running back. Maybe you're going with, players like Najee Harris or James Robinson, Raheem Mostert, one of my favorite long shots at this point in the week. I don't know if I'm going to be just burning money on Raheem, but I will have some exposure. Is AJ Green going to have low ownership? He definitely will. And I mean, from a game theory perspective, I guess he's good leverage off of Rondale Moore because nobody's going to pay up $800 to play the old vet over the exciting young rookie. But I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just not playing AJ Brown in 2021. The dude stone dust.
AJ Green.
AJ Brown I am playing. Yeah, AJ Green. Stone dust.
I mean, 0, 0, 0, 0. I mean, he had a couple good games last year, so maybe don't count out AJ Green.
I'm counting him out.
But yeah, Bills Steelers. Deontay seems to be going unnoticed. Yeah, I think the Bills and Steelers spot is definitely a game to target in tournaments for sure, especially large field tournaments. Nobody is going to play the Steelers wide receivers just because there's some uncertainty on who's going to get the targets. Is Deontay Johnson still going to be a target monster like he was last year when healthy? Juju re-signed in Pittsburgh. What's his role? And Chase Claypool's 5,600, and we know he's capable of putting up 3 touchdown games. It is kind of a tough spot against a Bills defense that did improve, and it's a good spot for the Bills, I think. But I definitely don't mind like a Diggs Deontay or Diggs Chase Claypool correlation in large field tournaments. Nobody's going to play it.
The interesting thing about that, in my opinion, is that like Josh Allen is projected to be one of the highest owned, if not the highest owned quarterback on the slate. Diggs is going to have some ownership. None of the bringbacks have major ownership. Najee's going to be between 10 and 15. None of these Steelers are projecting to be over like 5% owned. They're all super under the radar plays. So yeah, I love Deontay Johnson. People just aren't playing wide receivers in that range in general. None of the Steelers guys, the Panthers guys, I think are good, pivots off of CMC chalk. We have who else in that range? There's another play I really love in that range. 6,400. Terry McLaurin, I think, is a phenomenal play in that range with Curtis Samuel out.
Yeah, Bobby commented, you have to pay up for running back. It is the only way you can win. I agree with that from like a macro level. I think you do have to play
on this slate.
I think you do have to play one of the high priced running backs in your tournament lineups. I 100% agree. But am I playing 2 or am I playing 3? No way. Because that build leads you down the chalk build. The route of the chalk build, which is you jam those running backs in and you play 3 cheap wide receivers. And generally, I want to get away from chalk wide receivers in tournaments, especially in some unknown spots with the Jags wide receivers. We don't know what Marvin Jones' target share is going to be in 2021. Yeah, there's some beat reporter speculation that he might be the number 1, but we don't know that. In Callaway, this is a spot where this is going to be a slow-paced game against the Packers. The Packers honestly should be able to move the ball at ease, control the game, with Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. So And is Callaway even good? That's the thing. And Elijah Moore, are we gonna bet on Jets wide receivers in tournaments? Like it's easy to get away from these guys, and the way you do that is by not playing the top tier running backs and going to these wide receivers like Ben mentioned that aren't going to have ownership. Terry McLaurin with no Curtis Samuel, his target projection goes up a little bit, and he's 6,400, and people aren't going to play him. People aren't going to play Deontay. People aren't going to play Chart. People aren't going to play Ayuk or Odell Beckham in that Chiefs Browns game, which we didn't even mention. That's the best tournament game on the slate.
Yeah.
Highest and it's total. Not going to be owned.
It's crazy. Tyreek is going to be under-owned compared to some of the other guys. Pittman for cash. In my YouTube video, which you can find on the channel, I did include Pittman as a cash viable wide receiver. But I think the savings come in clutch in a lot of spots. And I do prefer just going down to like Callaway or Elijah Moore or Marvin Jones. But I mean, Pittman and GPPs especially. And I know we're kind of talking about, the Browns Chiefs game is an underrated game. I also think that the Seattle Colts game is underrated. I have a lot of exposure to Russ in my early builds right now. And Pittman's definitely my favorite bring back.
Yeah. And we didn't mention it, but I mean, we have a good amount of people watching. Any questions, we'll put on the screen and answer them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially we're going to get into the Q&A here in a bit, but we'll bring them up. But Larry said, so are you saying that no one will have stud wide receivers because they're spending it all on running back? Precisely. That's
I think that a lot of builds are going to have one expensive receiver.
Yes. Most builds aren't going to have multiple. And I think that's where you get the leverage and the advantage in tournaments specifically. In cash games, obviously you're going to want to take like the floor and safety at the running back position with, CMC, Kamara, two guys that will probably see 10 plus targets in this week. So in cash games, you want to go that route, but in tournaments, yes, play the expensive wide receivers. Why are my questions on the screen? Because for everybody watching, we have two of our friends in the chat and they're just trolls, so we're not responding to them.
Yeah,
because they don't.
Is Tyrod Taylor good?
Yeah, no, just leave the stream. Can you start two Panthers wide receivers with CMC or just one? In tournaments,
I would say just one.
I would say just one as well, just because it's unlikely that two wide receivers and CMC both hit their ceiling in the same lineup in the same game. So, yeah.
Agreed. So, anyways, back to your point about the Chiefs and Browns game. What are the Browns bringbacks that you're most interested in? Because the Chiefs side is obvious. You just play Mahomes with one of Kelsey or Hill, or you throw in some low-owned option if you want. But who are you bringing it back with on the Browns? Are you going Kareem Hunt revenge game? Are you going to take the Odell Beckham risk? Are you going to pay up to be contrarian and get Jarvis Landry, another player who's going to go completely under the radar? What are you thinking on the Brown side of the ball here?
I think the guy on the screen is the best bringback.
OBJ?
Uncertainty around his injury. He's 5,400. We saw the Browns trended towards a more pass-heavy approach towards the end of last season. And when he was healthy, in his first 5-6 games last year, you could see on the screen 10, 8, 9, 6 targets. So this is, I think, a spot to capitalize on the uncertainty around OBJ. Will he be, effective coming off an ACL injury? Reports out of training camp have said that he looks great, that he's back to form, and nobody's going to play him. So he's a 1% owned wide receiver in a range where nobody's going to target in one of the best games to target in tournaments, and they have the highest total on the slate. So you could definitely go with a Mahomes, Tyreek, Odell stack. I don't know if I would double stack Mahomes just because the prices are so expensive, unless you go like Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. But personally, I don't know if I would play them together because I feel like they do the same kind of thing. Does that make sense? I feel like the way McCole Hardman scores is going to be very similar to the way Tyreek Hill scores. So if Hardman is hitting his ceiling, I think hypothetically that could take away from Tyreek Hill's ceiling, but I might be wrong.
wide receivers against the Chiefs.
I mean, they do
that's
lock up.
Yeah, they
for
do.
some reason. I
They
don't
do.
know why. Like, they don't have talent, or no, they got some guys back there.
Yeah, as Tyron's back. But I would say that specifically, even though it has been true recently, is something that I fade year over year. I know that it's there's a good sample size that the Chiefs do that, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to be sweating last year's position versus DVP type matchups. I'm just not even including that in my process.
Yeah.
We have a question.
Yes. So what happens if you play two sneaky running backs low cost that match or come close to the top dogs? Happens a ton. Yeah, I mean,
let me take this one. I think that you're thinking about it a little bit wrong. You don't need, say Chase Edmonds or whatever pay down running back. You don't need them to match the top dogs at running back. You don't need them to match Kamara or Cook. You need them to beat the wide receivers that you're playing in that range. You need them to beat T. Higgins at 4,700 or Jerry Jeudy at 4,800 or Corey Davis at 4,900. It's the range of, it's really what you're getting dollar for dollar, not so the position, because you're allocating that to a different ceiling at wide receiver, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But specifically just for cheap running backs, I do like paying down to some of these guys. Like Chase Edmonds, I think is a great correlation play with AJ Brown. And you're getting him at a discount pass catching running back. Figures to have a decent role in the Cardinals offense. So I like capitalizing on that. And then, I mean, if you want to get like frisky, Trey Sermon is cheap and probably will see 10 touches against the Lions. Other than that, I mean, there's not really much at the bottom. I know Javonte Williams is 4K. I don't know if you like him as like a dart throw type, but
I think that, I'm probably just going to play nobody from that game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's probably
except for the Broncos defense.
I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on defense for a bit or for like 2 minutes. I'm fine with it. But defense in tournaments, I think you want to stay in like the 3 to 3,500 range is kind of where I like to be. And I mean, two of the best plays on the board, they should be obvious. The Vikings D and the Broncos D. Yep. Those are going to be my only two tournament defenses, both relatively cheap. Both are in very good spots. Cincinnati, there's going to be some chalk guys, so good leverage off that. And then the Broncos defense, they should just annihilate the Giants offensive line and Daniel Jones this week. So just play those two.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't really feel like I need to give a defense take. It's like, just play whoever fits your build. Definitely don't spend up for it. Look at ownership and just get away from the chalk. And sort of on that same point that you made about the Vikings D, Eric B asks, do you like Mixon this week? He and Najee Harris stand out to me. I'm going to be honest. I'm not playing Joe Mixon chalk. I think Najee Harris is a better play. Dollar for dollar, point for point, and for that extra 100, if I'm in that range, I'm just going to play Najee. I think the Bengals get rolled on in this spot between the improved defense of the Vikings. I think they're going to be able to control the ball. I'm not confident in Joe Burrow in his first game back. It's going to be a shaky offensive line with a lot of pass attempts. I could see Joe Mixon just absolutely breaking people's hearts. He's been doing it for years.
I mean, he broke my heart last year, but good thing I traded him off to Tim before he got hurt in our league. Got off that train quick. But yeah, Joe Mixon is a guy that just routinely disappoints. I mean, we talked about in the podcast, there's a YouTube video of it literally on this feed. So if you want, you can go watch it. I'm not gonna reiterate myself, but I'm fine with fading Joe Mixon in every lineup. But do you think Julio / DeAndre Hopkins will go off on each other, prove who's got the bigger D? I mean,
you think there's going to be like a little D size competition going on here?
Yeah,
little PSM.
Yeah, PSM action.
I mean, Levitan did touch on that when he joined the show, so it's definitely worth considering.
I mean, I would assume that they both have pretty huge cocks. No.
It's a safe assumption.
Yeah, so
definitely a safe assumption.
I think they're both going to go off if we're just going off the PSM.
Yeah, and AJ Brown's in that same range. He's definitely massive. I actually wanted to get back to this question we missed a little bit earlier. Darnold, McCaffrey, Anderson, run it back with more. Absolutely. I also Joey, I wanted to bring this up. I had it written down. I think one of the best, hands down, leverage plays on the slate is Tyler Kroft at 2,500. And this is why. He's going to be 1% owned. And at 2,500, tight end can't kill you. Even if he busts, you're still live at the price tag of 2,500. There's no downside, only upside. And B, by playing Tyler Kroft, you can get off of two pieces of chalk at once. You can get off of Elijah Moore as your cheap Jets bring back, and you can get off of Kyle Pitts, who, while I think he's a great play, I think he's a stone lock in cash. I definitely think there's room to get off of a rookie tight end in his first game at 25% owned on DraftKings in DFS. Go down to the 2,500. Paying down has worked a ton. And so just by playing Kroft, I think you get off of two pieces of major chalk. And yeah, I love it. And it gives you the salary relief that you need to jam McCaffrey in there with Darnold and Anderson and just load the rest of your lineup with studs.
I can't stomach playing this dweeb in tournaments, so I'm not going there. But
yeah, I do wish you hadn't pulled this picture up. That makes me second guess.
If you want, you could play him, but I'm definitely not fading, or I'm definitely not fading this guy.
Yeah,
you want to talk about PSM. This dude's off the charts. But yeah, I'm not fading Kyle Pitts for Tyler Kroft. Just no shot.
Okay.
Why so much talk about Darnold? This guy's looked horrible in the NFL. I'm right there with you, bro. But he's in a great spot against the Jets. And I've said this before, and Ben might know what I'm going to say, but players show you who they are over time. And yeah, he might have had a complete donkey at head coach, but Sam Darnold has shown nothing. Okay. Maybe a little nice touchdown throw here and there to Braxton Berrios on a nice rollout, but the man sucks. He stinks.
He's shown nothing. Dude beat Mono.
Oh, God. We talking about Mono now?
It happened during the NFL season, and he bounced right back. Come on.
Yeah, WW Fresh. Nice pick of who is that, like fucking Star something? I forgot. I don't know his name, but yeah, Darnold is ass. So
only time this year we can fit CMC, Dalvin Kamara easily. Don't see another route in cash. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it at the top of the stream. I think Calvin Ridley, especially, or Stephon Diggs project pretty similarly to Cook, and it just depends on how comfortable you are if you want to play three cheap wide receivers, or if you want to get one of your wide receivers from that mid to high 4K range, T. Higgins, Judy, or Corey Davis. It's going to be a tough decision. I think it's the main decision point on the slate, but team jam them in. It
looks good. I mean,
it looks good. It looks good. It looks juicy.
Yeah, very, very juicy. Like you said, it's going to be hard to get away, but keep on commenting questions that you guys have, player versus player. We'll answer anything.
Anything.
But yeah,
I mean, I got another hot leverage take that I want to get off.
Let's hear it.
Marquez Callaway is going to be stone chalk, right? He's 3,400.
Okay. Yeah.
Josh Allen's projected to be one of the highest scoring quarterbacks on the slate.
God, here we go.
He's going to be high owned. Stephon Diggs is going to be high owned.
Here we go.
Josh Allen's going to throw 40 to 50 times, right? Let me tell you this. Gabriel Davis at 3,400 is an elite piece of leverage. He's the deep threat in the Bills offense. There's going to be passing volume. He's directly the same exact price as Marquez Callaway. He's going to be under 2% owned, and you just jam him in. All right. I've been jamming him in every goddamn best ball draft for the last 5 months. And if you think I'm not jamming him in on my DraftKings week 1 lineups and tournaments, you're absolutely tweaking. Gabriel Davis. Let's go.
See, I don't mind Davis, but if we're going off Marquez Callaway and you want leverage, I'm going to the other Marquez in the same game on the opposite team. Jared's boy. Shout out to Jared.
Yeah.
I'm going to this guy.
Like that. I like that too. I do like that.
Pivoting to MVS in hopes that he catches a long touchdown or maybe 2. And it's a good spot for him. Marshawn Lattimore's banged up, but he figures to shadow Devontae Adams, and the Saints have nobody else in the secondary. So I think that frees up MVS to see, potentially 6-8 targets in this spot. And by all accounts, he's improved in the offseason. And, Rodgers has said that he looks like a different wide receiver out there. So give me just the other Marquez.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, studs. Hey, babe. I was wondering if you think Melvin Gordon is underpriced versus the Giants. They seem to give up a lot of turnovers and set up running backs to score. I don't hate it. And, on DraftKings, he is going to be coming in at under 5% owned. He's definitely going to get work. That's the thing. I think that, Javonte Williams, he got arrested at the end of the preseason. So it's sort of tough, I think, to maybe justify, playing Melvin Gordon for $1,300 more on DraftKings. But, he figures to get work. And if the Broncos just roll on the Giants, which is totally possible with Daniel Jones being a turnover machine, then yeah, Melvin Gordon could easily punch 2 in at 5,300. And specifically on DraftKings, he gets you off of that main build.
Personally, I'm not playing Melvin Gordon in 2021. Like, I'll play Javonte, the running back that they rested in their final preseason game, while Melvin Gordon suited up. Reports have said that he could do everything, and he's essentially the guy there. And come like week 6, week 8, Javonte's going to be the guy. So if you want a low-owned running back at the Stone Min, let's just pull him up here. Got to type it. Goddamn. There's a lot of Williams.
So many J. Williams, bro.
All right, right here. Javonte Williams is the Stone minimum on DraftKings, and he's going to be 1% owned in a spot where Denver should be winning and leading this game. And this is a good opportunity for him to show that they made the right move by trading up for him in the draft.
Yeah, and everything is trending towards the Broncos winning this game. They've moved from being 1-point favorites to 3-point favorites as the course of the week went. Eric B asks, do you guys use software to import your lineups? If so, which one? I don't use software. I just use my soft hands, baby.
Yeah. No, we're not optimizer nerds, okay?
No.
I mean, I respect them. They win a lot of money, but we hand build over here. We can go over here. I mean, I might expose my cash lineup, but I build all my contests.
Look at that. Oh, you just invite in any takers, aren't you? Look at all those TBDs.
Oh, bro, I want all the action. If you're watching, invite me to a head-to-head. I got them posted.
Look at that. Put it on the screen.
Nice. Yeah.
I got that smoke.
$3, $2, $1 head-to-heads posted. But yeah, we hand build our lineups over here, bro.
Yeah, no cap.
I still got $108 to spend, and I was looking through. I didn't really see any great tournaments. But this is a good time to plug our tournament that we're running. If I could find it right here, it's linked. It's in the pinned comment. We're running a 15 entry tournament this week, like a DFS Dose listener tournament. Free to or $10 to join. Obviously, first and second win. Just some to do so you guys can play with us.
Yeah, for sure. Hop in there. Lot of I saw Jared's name in there, so that's one free entry.
All the action for $2, broke boy. I mean, they can invite me to play for more.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what I have posted. Yeah. I have $3 and $2 and $1 posted right now. But if they want, I got $20 on a head-to-head with Ryan tomorrow. This guy, he drafted John Ross and Leonard Fournette in the 6th round. That's free money. Thank you, Ryan. But yeah, anybody can invite me for a head-to-head in here. But yeah, we'll go back here. But yeah, we got kind of hung up on that.
Yeah,
people are way too high on rookies for the first week and their first game in the NFL. I generally agree with that, especially as chalk. That's why I think Elijah Moore is a solid fade in tournaments. And Callaway, I know he's not a rookie, but uncertainty around him and some other guys like Rondale Moore as well. But
Terrace Marshall, I mean, God, I would rather play Robbie or DJ Moore. I guess you're technically paying up to be contrarian, but I mean, I would say at this point they both have higher ceilings.
Yeah. If Javonte is a Jonathan Taylor talent, he could put up a huge game. Yup, and he's 4K. I might throw I mean, I didn't reserve any, but that $5 Millie Makers Stone Lottery. I mean, Javonte and that, it's like a Stone lock, honestly. Melvin Gordon was good last season on a bad team. Think you saying you are not playing him in 2021 is a bad take. I mean, I'm fine with fading a guy that's gotten worse over the last couple of seasons, and they went up and traded for a running back to come and take his job. So
and rested that running back in the final preseason game. Meanwhile, they had Melvin Gordon trotting out there against the third stringers.
in a meaningless game.
Yeah, that's absolutely a tough scene.
They started Melvin Gordon and rested Javonte Williams. So I think the writing is on the wall for Melvin Gordon. And I mean, he's a guy like, if he gets a full workload, like you could see here, he'll get you like 14 to 15 points average, but he's not going to do more than that. He had 2 games over 100 yards last year. And a lot of his touchdowns came in the same game. As you could see, he had 3 games with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. We're still waiting on a couple of Schefter bombs, but the most recent tweet from Schefter was confirmation on Saquon Barkley. There was speculation he would miss this game in the same game, opposite side of the ball as Melvin Gordon. What do you think about Barkley at 7,800? Are you going to take a shot on him in his first game action in quite some time?
Probably not. I just think he's surrounded by better plays. Like if I'm going in tournaments, I'd rather play Nick Chubb. You talked about it on the podcast. JT as a pivot. Kamara's only 800 more than Saquon Barkley. So yeah, I'm not playing Saquon. You realize every team uses at least 2 running backs, correct? No team uses just 1 back. Yeah, no, you're right. You call those clowns, but
he's right about that too. We are clowns.
You'll see the writing is on the wall for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon's not.
He can still have a role and not do anything with the role.
Right.
Like he could get 10 carries a game. Doesn't mean he's going to be good.
Exactly. Like I would rather pay up just for like the ceiling of Mostert or Gibson or Chris Carson, or pay down for Damian Harris. Mike
Davis is $100 more than Melvin Gordon. If you're playing Melvin Gordon over Mike Davis, like send me any amount head to head.
Absolutely. Here, I'll put that back on the screen for the people.
Send me A-Lib. Send me a head to head, and we can get this action going. Since you want to call us clowns. You're better than us, so send me a head-to-head right now, and I'll accept it on the screen. I'm waiting. Send it.
I'll wait.
I'll deposit $1 more if you want to play $109 head-to-head. I'll do it. Just type in the chat. And play Melvin Gordon against me and see if you win. That's what I want to know.
Anybody else got any questions? Joe, you got anything you want to get off? I mean, I'm still waiting for this notification to pop through. He must have logged off.
Strange. He's still watching. He's still watching. I'll wait.
JD carrying 300.
Yeah.
You know the vibes.
Yeah. But I think we pretty much covered just about everything for tournaments and cash games. If people are done asking questions, then it is what it is. But I'm down to answer a few more questions. Try and help somebody win $1 million. I mean, I'm trying to bank tomorrow. I don't know about you.
Oh, I'm trying to bank tomorrow. I'm absolutely trying to bank tomorrow, and I'm
excited.
Send
the head-to-head, Ryan, please. And you have to play Melvin Gordon. This is my username. Send me a head-to-head.
Wait. If you guys are playing Melvin Gordon, send one to me too, please. I'm second your
trying to take my action.
Dude, I want some too. You can't just get everyone playing Melvin Gordon. I want some of that.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Week one, a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, people are playing Melvin Gordon. You're talking about opportunity.
I mean, a lot of opportunity to steal money. So, I mean, if you want to build my bankroll, I mean, I have $525 in play for week 1. If you want to build my bankroll and give me free money, thank you. All right. Shout out to Eric B. He's been asking good questions.
Yeah, shout out to Eric B.
De'Ami Brown. I don't mind him. He's also min price. If you want to pivot there off Elijah Moore, I think it's fine, but only in a tournament like the $5 Millie Maker. I'm not going there in single entry. I'm not going there in 3 max tournaments. There's really just no point to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like people are thinking like, all right, Curtis Samuel's out. It's all just going to get pushed over to De'Ami Brown. I mean, no, it's going to get spread to Terry, Logan Thomas, Adam Humphries, Antonio Gibson, JD. Yeah, like I mean, what is De'Ami Brown's realistic target projection? Like 3?
But yeah, 4? WW Fresh, semi head to head. JD carrying 300. Yeah, probably.
He's on your ass, bro.
Jack Nichols.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Oreos aren't even that good.
I mean, that's cap.
I'd rather have like Chips Ahoy, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad take. Mike Williams is a good play.
I'm fat, but I'm still a better athlete than like everybody in the chat besides Jared. So I mean,
don't be taking
you can
shots
get
at people.
You can get the smoke in like football or whatever.
Nobody lives here but us, dude.
I mean, they could fly out if they want. They might live in New York.
Week 1, a lot of opportunity.
Catch the smoke.
Put that on the t-shirt. I mean, yeah, we could put that on the t-shirt, honestly.
I need to put my DraftKings username on a t-shirt and just wear that every live stream.
Yeah, you should. I mean, I like that t-shirt you got on right now. We got a couple spares. You know what we should do is start giving those away to people who win the listener league every week.
Yeah, I mean, we got to fill it though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's got to be filled. But I would be down to give away a shirt to winners. Something like that. Would you play Jimmy G? Absolutely not. No shot. What's
his price?
55, I want to say, or 54, something like that.
5,500.
Yeah, no, I'm playing. If I'm in that range, the only 2 quarterbacks that I'm considering in that range are Jameis Winston and Sam Darnold. That's it. Can I get a free t-shirt? No.
Okay, so I should fade Gordon and play Williams. He's going to be the guy. I mean, in cash games, no. Like, if you want to play me in a head-to-head, you don't play either, right?
She doesn't want to challenge you. She just wants to know.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying in general. Like, if you're playing in a double-up, head-to-head, whatever, no, you're not playing either. In a tournament, you can go there.
I'll just say that specifically in DFS on DraftKings, I'm not playing them. I'm not playing anybody from that game. I think it's a game to avoid. There are just so many better spots on the board.
Yeah, okay.
So I would decide between neither of them. I would lean Williams for the price, like if you had to. But if you're talking about like a season-long league, I don't know.
That's the better way to put it, is there are just so many better plays that you don't have to play them.
Yeah, not on this slate. You know, it's not like
there's no reason to play them. Like literally none. When you have Mike Davis, who's a better play than Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt is good for, game stacks. If you want to stack up that Chiefs game, Antonio Gibson is better. Mostert's better. Chris Carson, the list goes on. There's no reason. The other shows are completely wrong.
Absolutely. You can fade Rondale Moore. Joey, can you actually real quick, do you think you're able to pull up Rondale Moore's player profiler?
Of course. This is pure comedy.
Just so people know like what we're talking about with Rondale Moore. This is the player that your tout sites call a lock. Okay? This is what the other shows say you have to play.
The man, okay, analytically, he has a great prospect profile. 4.37, 96th percentile burst, 94th percentile agility, whatever. The man is 5'7", 180. when has a wide receiver that small been good? I mean, it's going to take an outlier career for him to be good, I think,
To
right?
even be relevant.
Yeah, he has to be an outlier. And all of these sites preach that, people are just too confident in predicting outliers, but then they tout Rondale Moore to the moon.
Yeah.
Like, I think for him to have a successful NFL career, everything has to line up. Like, he has to get put in the right system with the right coach that is going to utilize him in the right way, and he's going to have to stay healthy, which he didn't do in college. As you could see here, he hasn't played a full season of football in 3 years, and you got Ant-Man running out there. So I don't hate the dude. Like, I have best ball shares of Rondale Moore because it'd be dumb not to, but in DFS, you don't have to play him. Like, Rondale Moore is a king. I mean, the short kings got to stay together. So, came in late. Nah, we don't. We're not making lineups.
Nah, but I mean, short summary of what you want to be doing in GPPs. All you got to do is just play some expensive receivers. Specifically, play 2 expensive receivers, find 1 value running back, and it doesn't even need to be a stone value. Like, play Najee, play James Robinson, play Chase Edmonds, play whoever. But just doing that will get you pretty unique in tournaments.
Yep.
Is the Colts defense as good as they were last season? They were sneaky good and only 2,300.
I like the Colts.
I don't hate it, but to me, the Colts thing, it's like you really have to buy into the prospect of the Seahawks being more of a pass-heavy team. I still think at their core, I think Pete Carroll is going to be sitting there chewing gum, trying to run the fucking ball, jam it down the Colts' throats. So I don't know. You want pass attempts for your defenses. That's where points come from.
And they have some injuries on defense as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, something to consider. But for defense in cash games, Falcons are going to be stone chalk. And I mean, they're going to get you like 3 points probably. Jalen Hurts will probably throw an interception or 2, and they'll get some points off that. But other than that, I'm staying away from every defense in the low end. In tournaments,
I like the Bills a lot, man. I do want that's my only defensive take is because I think they can get ahead early by just and put the Steelers in position to rely on Big Ben's fucked up elbow and declining career, and just that's a recipe for disaster. And I will say, you don't know how hyped Buffalo's going to be for that first game after being closed, man. Maybe it's biased, but I think that stadium's going to be rocking. I don't think Big Ben's ready.
And if the Bills get out to an early lead, that's going to force the Steelers into a lot of dropbacks with one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. They're bottom 2 along with the Giants. Just go to Google and type in Steelers depth chart and look at their offensive line, and you won't even be able to name any of them because they're not NFL players. So
the
Bills
made it on my Madden.
The Bills at 2,500 is good in cash, but like I said, in tournaments, I think you want to stay in this 3,000 to 3,300 range with the Broncos, Vikings, Washington, which is a top 5 defense in the NFL, is only 3,200. So that's where I'm going for defenses in tournaments. But how do you feel about Pittman Jr. for tomorrow? Ben mentioned it a little bit, but he's solid. There's just guys cheaper than him that are a little bit better, but in tournaments, I mean, I love him in tournaments. He's only 4,100. I feel like that's way too cheap.
It is, but he's not as under the radar as you would think. I mean, I've seen some ownership projections that have him in the 10 to 15% range, so he's not like a stone under the radar play.
Well, people are going to play him.
But I do like Pittman. I mean, Seattle had one of the absolute worst secondaries in the NFL last year. If that holds true, Pittman does profile to be the alpha. And he adds on to the question, Pittman Jr. or Gage for tomorrow. I mean, that's kind of
Gage is 5,300. It's not.
He's 5,300. Oh yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, definitely. I thought they were like the same.
You take the 1,200 and go to Pittman 100% in cash in tournaments 100 wherever. Eric B, what are you doing at quarterback paying up? So quarterback for cash games, Jalen Hurts, stone lock 6,400 as you can see right here. In tournaments, I think Mahomes, Kyler, Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill are all in play with Hurts. Those would be the 5 quarterbacks that I would condense on.
Yep, I agree with that 100%.
You guys say you hate Mixon. He's no good to play. From a touch projection standpoint, Mixon is probably one of the best plays on the board. It's just personally, Ben and I are fine with fading guys that we personally just don't like, for whatever reason that may be. And Mixon, I think, falls into that category. And Ben outlined some reasons why, the Bengals could be losing in this game. It's a bad matchup against the revamped Vikings defense, that is getting Danielle Hunter back. They added Michael Pierce. I think Delvin Tomlinson is out, though, so that's something to monitor. And Anthony Barr's out, so that does kind of hurt a little bit. But the Vikings could just roll over the Bengals in this spot, and I think they will, and Ben does too. So
yeah, I prefer Najee a lot more. I like the game environment more as well. I think it'll be a lot more fast paced than that Bills Steelers game. What else do we got? A couple more questions. We got Russ Wilson stack or Kirk Cousins stack. I mean, I'm going Russ personally.
Russ, I think Russ stack is a higher ceiling, obviously, with DK and Lockett, and I mean include Gerald Everett in there too. I like double stacking Russ with one wide receiver and Gerald Everett, who's 3,400. But I think you can get good leverage on the field with a Viking stack. So I like both. Because like I mentioned, Justin Jefferson is probably a top leverage play on the week. And leverage is something that you want to try and get into, your tournament lineups. Justin Jefferson is going to be a guy that's going to be lower owned because he's in that price range where nobody's going to pay up to. Dalvin Cook, his teammate, is going to be chalk. Some of the Bengals guys are going to be chalk. So it's a good opportunity to capitalize.
Yeah, for sure. Out of all the top running backs, I believe Henry will be the lowest one, like in terms of ownership. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, 100%.
And honestly, I mean, you're talking about leverage. Like he's a good play as well because he is, the highest ceiling player in a stone shootout. Like Henry could easily run for 80 yards at any point in this game, and people are going to feel sick when he's 10%.
Yeah, if I'm playing Derrick Henry, I'm probably not playing any other tight end in the lineup. Just because if you're playing him at 8,800, you're hoping he goes off for 202, which is possible again against the Cardinals for sure, and we could all just get it shoved down our throat. But I'm willing to bet that the Titans will lean more pass heavy in a game where they're going to have to score points. So
I want to see a picture of Derrick Henry and Rondale Moore like standing next to each other.
Yeah, it'd be like a father and his son.
A father and his little baby boy.
Yeah, but we got OS and the DK GPP Millie Maker tourney, which is this. Still have to make my lineup, but do you have to pay up for DST, or is it okay to play the Falcons at min price? Great question. We just touched on it. You want to pay up, I think, just because the Falcons defense, they're more likely than not going. They're going to get you 3-4 points, and I think to win, a larger field tournament, you need 10 plus out of your defense, unless every defense is trash. But I think there's some good spots for defenses out here. But then again, it's a high variance position, and you don't really need to force a defense in your lineup. Like if you have a great lineup that requires you to play the Falcons defense, just play the Falcons defense.
Yeah, the most important thing is not sacrificing upside in other spots for your defense, because a lot of it's just going to be coming down to who gets the touchdown. So to me, it's about ownership more than anything else. If the Falcons are going to be chalky, I'm going to have absolutely no exposure in tournaments. It's so easy to fade chalky defenses.
I am stacking the Jets. Thoughts? I mean, it's fine, but I don't want to bet on a rookie quarterback in his first start going up against what I think is going to be an underrated defense this year. But Zach Wilson definitely could go off. But
it's true. Nobody's going to play Zach Wilson, but everybody else is chalk.
It's just getting too cute. I think.
I agree. Yeah, you don't need to go there. How do you feel about the 3-stud running back cash lineup with CMC, Dalvin, and Kamara?
Optimal.
It's solid. It looks really good.
It's the lineup that, if I go to Roto Grinders, that it's going to spit out. It's either going to spit out that or it's going to spit out two of them in the lineup with a Calvin Ridley or Diggs. So if you're, I like to drink gasoline.
That doesn't seem optimal, dude. I mean, for me, I only smoke that gas. I don't know about you.
Assuming Edmonds and Tannehill have bad correlation, no, I don't think so. If Edmonds is going off, he's catching passes, and
I don't know if I agree with that. Actually, I think that if Edmonds is having a really good game, it's probably because the Cardinals are playing catch up. He's going to be on the field getting receptions. And if that's the case and the Titans are ahead, I think we're in a Derrick Henry game script. So I don't know. I don't know if I know. But I mean, if it's a stone shootout where it's like back and forth and this game is like, they're each putting up 35 plus, then everybody's in play and it's wheels up. So I guess it just depends on what type of game you're building for.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're building for a back and forth, Chase Edmonds correlates well. So the only script where he doesn't is a Derrick Henry script, right? Where Tannehill and Edmonds don't correlate well, but in any other script, they're going to correlate well, in my opinion. Tannehill sacrificed Rustak and play Cousin Sack in order to upgrade DST from Falcons. I wouldn't.
Don't sacrifice anything to upgrade at DST. Only do it if it makes sense.
Yep. And then we have Tannehill or Mahomes from MD. Pricing, I mean, obviously no price included. You're going Mahomes. Price included for tournaments, probably Ryan Tannehill for me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Mahomes is going to be like 10% on. Tannehill is going to be like
2,
5, 2, 3. Like
Mahomes might be higher than 10 too.
Definitely, I could see that.
Packers Saints looks like a good game. Lattimore's ruled out.
Lattimore's ruled out. Davante
Adams is in a great spot. But MVS is, I think, a very good lone GPP dart throw. OS operating system, nice.
Yeah,
OL. Don't know what that means.
So this is all pretty expected, but we do have 2 Schefter tweets. Players expected to play on Sunday. Wentz, Quentin Nelson, that was expected. Joe Burrow, obviously. Austin Eckler, figured as much. Trey Lance, don't expect him to get too much playing time. Deshaun Jackson, not on the main slate, so doesn't really matter. Noah Fant and Saquon Barkley, little to no interest in DFS. Players that are ruled out: Crowder, we knew that. Watson, we knew that. Evan Ingram, we knew that. Traquan Smith, we knew that. So no major news at this point.
Word. Mac Jones sleeper. No. I'm a Patriots fan too. Just there's no reason to go there.
No.
Favorite 6K running back. Let's take a look. Who do we got in the 6K range? So if you're just strictly looking from 6 to 7K, my favorite would probably be Miles Sanders in tournaments, just for leverage reasons. We're going to have a lot of chalk pieces in that game with Hurts, Pitts, Calvin Ridley. And I think this is easily a spot where Miles Sanders could run for 101 and catch 5 balls, and he scores 30 points.
Yep. Instead of playing chalk min price players like Moore Brothers, who do you pivot to? I mean, I think that I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think Corey Davis is a phenomenal play. I mean, he's the actual alpha in this Jets wide receiver core, 1,900 more, but you can find salary all over the board. I love going up to Corey Davis, who's going to have half the ownership, maybe even more leverage off of Elijah. And, some other names to throw out there. Gabriel Davis, talked about him at 3,400 over Callaway in that range. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is under 4K and is viable. Paris Campbell. I don't know. There's a lot of plays that you can go with.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of plays to consider this week. So I like some of those guys. I'm not playing Deontay Harris in Draftkings at all. Like I'm not putting money on Deontay Harris. So that's what I think about him. But Other than that, I mean, for tournaments, MVS, Gabe Davis, are some of the other guys that I like.
Don't like Mac against Miami. Yeah, same. I just think that they're gonna want to run the ball. Like Mac is just not going to be able to match the production, and he doesn't have to at 4,400. But like, what is his realistic ceiling? Like, if he scores 20, then you're lit, right? And I just don't see it.
Does Carlos Hyde vulture touchdowns from Robinson? It's definitely possible for sure, 100%. Carlos Hyde went to Ohio State, when Urban Meyer was coaching there, so there's a little connection there. And Urban Meyer might just be a stone donkey, so
he might be.
So there's a good chance that Robinson doesn't have the full role. I think it could be a situation to capitalize on it in tournaments if you want to go James Robinson, because he is so cheap, 6,400, and the best spot on the board. Any player against Houston is going to be in a great spot all season. So I don't hate James Robinson. Carlos Hyde, no. I mean, you can't play players that are just stone scrubs, in my opinion. Like,
I agree.
We've all, everybody in this chat, we've all been watching football for years now, right? I'm assuming we've all been watching football for years, and Carlos Hyde is not good. Like,
that's a fact.
At a point in time, you just can't play bad players,
I agree. Not on this slate that's just absolutely so loaded.
Yes.
Is it worth it to play Pitts in the Millionaire Maker?
100%.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. I know that he's going to be really chalky, but it isn't necessarily about not playing chalky players. It's about not having a lineup that's too chalky. It's about your cumulative ownership. As long as you get different in other spots, then there's no reason to fade one of the best plays on the board. You just have to make sure that in general, your lineup is unique enough. So absolutely, you play Kyle Pitts.
Everybody's getting blocked out here.
Thoughts on Mike Davis, GPP?
I like it personally. It's another leverage play.
It is a good leverage play.
He could have a monster role, and I think he's low key a better receiving back than actual running back. Like at this point in his career, so if he gets like 5-6 targets, I think he's fine. He's cheap.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right for sure.
We'll have to see the role that Wayne Gallman has. I don't think he's gonna have a major role, but he definitely could eat into Mike Davis's potential opportunity for sure.
Looks like we've made it through all the questions at hand. If you guys have one more, I would say this is your chance before we hop off for the evening. We got to be
12:08. We'll go to 12:12. 4 minutes.
12:12. All right, sounds good. I like that. And
we
by
got
the way,
like 19 people watching the show. Shout out to everybody watching.
Yeah,
if you got any questions, ask. We'll answer.
Man, thanks for joining the first stream. By the way, also join the DFS Dose Discord. I mean, I'm going to be in there like 8-9 a.m. in the morning, all the way up until lock. So hop in, we'll be adjusting the late news, just, continuing the conversation, talking DFS. We live and breathe this shit. So hop in the Discord channel. Link is in the description below.
Please don't do that. That's not good. You just, you got to formulate your own process.
Appreciate the stream, fellas. Yeah, man, no problem. Thanks for tuning in, dude. I'm gonna do a lineup with Mike Davis.
I like.
Yeah,
I mean,
you should make two.
I
two
think
lineups.
I think he fits the build that is going to give you leverage, and that's the pay down at running back build and pay out that wide receivers in tournaments. So, I personally like Mike Davis this week. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm all right with it, man. I don't know. I just have like this weird feeling in my soul that Raheem Mostert is going to absolutely decimate the Lions tomorrow.
I mean, most likely he's going to go off for 101, 100%. I have a gut feeling that Trey Sermon is going to go off for.
You think so? NFL debut. Everyone's playing rookie wide receivers, but it's Trey who snaps.
I think he's going to be used a decent bit, and he might have the pass game role in the Niners offense. I mean, they don't play Mostert in that role. So Trey Sermon is 4,500. low owned dart throw. That might be my guy. My favorite low owned running back dart throw is Trey Sermon.
Thoughts on Cam Sims? We talked about it earlier with De'Ami Brown, even with Curtis Samuel out. Yeah, like Sims gets a slight bump in his target projection, and so does De'Ami. But I think that more likely than not, the targets are going to be more heavily distributed to the studs. They're going to go to McLaurin. They're going to go to Gibson, McKissick, and Logan Thomas. I mean, I don't have too much interest in Brown or Sims.
All right, we'll get through these. We'll get
Davis.
through these last couple questions, and then we're gonna end the stream.
Yep. Both Coleman and Davis for the Jets are 4,900. Who would you go with? I would go with Davis. He's one of my favorite plays. He's my favorite wide receiver
Davis
under
over Coleman, 100%. No, he's not.
He's not. Do you guys like Matt Ryan? Didn't hear you mention him. I think he's fine in GPPs. He projects well. And I think that if you play him, you double stack him because the only way that he's going to put up enough points for you to separate in GPPs is if he's throwing 3 to 4 touchdowns. So you're going to want to get exposure to those touchdowns through Ridley and, Mike Davis and Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. I don't hate Matt Ryan, but yeah. But yeah, if you're watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. It's free. Help us out. We're at like 229. Get us to 230. Somebody subscribe right now, please.
Yep. And look, man, I'd love to talk all night, but we got to get a nice rest. Got to get a nice rest to be up and at 'em because tomorrow
8 a.m., 8:30, you got to wake up.
Yep.
Ben's going to make his pot of coffee. Personally, I don't drink coffee, so I'll drink like a nice cup of water, go outside, enjoy the nice fresh sun.
Yep.
Nice Rochester early morning sun, get my mind right, come on the computer for 3-4 hours, build my lineups, and then we're going to head to our friend's house to watch the games. But I'm grinding this year. You feel me? I'm bringing the computer. I'm having the lineups open, getting the late swaps ready. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Talk Sports. Shout out to Talk Sports. He was in the chat all night. I don't know if he was getting trolled or whatever, but I blocked them. So
yeah, we appreciate you. We got Matt Ryan is a terrible play. He says, "Who the hell are you?" He said, "Better than you." That too, man. Love the draw. Yo, we'll be back next Saturday night, guys. Make sure you hop back in the stream. We appreciate you. And like I said, join the Discord. We'll be in there all morning tomorrow leading up to lock, man. Thank you guys for watching.